So today, we're launching the successor to the king, Redmi 4. All right, I want to start with battery life, and I know I must sound like a broken record because I keep talking about it, but in my opinion, battery life is the most important thing in a smartphone. And amazing battery life was one of the main reasons why people loved Redmi 3S. Let's take a look at some of the data we had. So this was my battery life when I was using it as my daily driver. I'm a pretty heavy user, and I actually had the Wi-Fi hotspot on for more than 5 hours a day. Yet I'm still left with 42% battery. Another heavy Redmi 3S user, Abe, managed to get 15 hours of screen on time. 15 hours. And when we showed this last year, many people didn't believe it. And actually, some of you said that screen on time isn't the only thing that matters. But if you read through those 600,000 reviews, it's not just our claim anymore. It's a fact. So of course, we wanted to make sure that we continue this tradition with the Redmi 4. So just like the Redmi 3S, it also packs a huge 4100 milliamp hour battery, which is enough for 2 days of battery. It delivers an incredible 18 days on standby. If you compare Redmi 4 to the Moto G5, it has more than 50% battery capacity, so you can stay powered for much longer. In our lab tests, Redmi 4 also performed well across a range of categories. Take a look at some of the numbers here. This is 13 hours of continued gaming. We have 8 hours of HD video recording, and an absolutely incredible 36 hours of 3G talk time. During our internal tests, one of our colleagues, which I'm sure the Mi fans know well, Shashank, he managed to get 2 days of battery life with regular use. Things like browsing, messaging apps, calls, music, and more. Plus, he still had 10% battery at the end of the second day. So Redmi 4, it's the 4100 milliamp hour, 2-day battery. Next, I want to talk about performance. The first thing to consider, of course, is the processor, and Redmi 4 is powered by the Snapdragon 435. It's a similar setup to the Redmi 3S. It has 4 A53 performance cores and 4 power cores. So you get the same performance that Mi fans loved with the Redmi 3S. But as a product company, we focus on the overall experience. We don't look at a single component in isolation. We don't design products simply to look good on a spreadsheet. What matters to us is how the phone performs once you actually start using it. Our actual benchmarks are smooth performance, power efficiency, and thermal performance. So Redmi 4 has a gorgeous 5-inch HD display, and people have asked us, since Redmi phones are known to provide great specs at affordable prices, why don't you just use a 1080p Full HD display instead? Well, first of all, because Redmi 4 is a 5-inch phone, it already has 296 ppi, which is reaching the limits of what the human eye can see. And secondly, the display actually has a very big impact on the performance of your phone. So to explain our thought process, let's use a simple example. You can think of Redmi 4 like a heavy-duty truck. The engine is the Snapdragon 435. It can take on a pretty decent workload and still travel smoothly. But if you increase the workload, the truck won't be able to travel as fast as it normally would. The same thing happens if you would pair Redmi 4 with the Full HD display. This is because Full HD displays have twice the number of pixels of an HD display. So we know that the truck will have a lower max speed. But the question is it worth it? Well, to show you a real-world example, we looked at the Moto G5. Both phones have the same graphics card, but Moto G5 has a full HD display. In our internal lab tests, we've found that Redmi 4 has 2 times the frame rate versus Moto G5, and this is using on-screen graphics tests from GFX Bench, like Manhattan and T-Rex. In other words, Redmi 4 is 2 times smoother than the Moto G5. And because the workload on a 1080p display is more, you need more fuel to travel the same distance. This means that Redmi 4 is also more power efficient than the Moto G5. So the third thing we consider is thermal performance, and this is particularly important now. And the combination of an HD display and the Adreno 505 GPU also delivers significantly better thermal performance. So we ran a 20-minute gaming test comparing the same Moto G5 with the Redmi 4. Here you can see the Moto G5 on the left, Redmi 4 on the right. They both start at about the same temperature. If you look at it after 10 minutes, Moto G5 starts to get a little warm, and the Redmi 4 is still cool. But after 20 minutes, the Moto G5 heats up significantly, crossing 45 degrees in a visible way. The top half of this phone is dark red, especially around the earpiece. And if you look at Redmi 4, it doesn't even get warm. So the question to ask is it still worth it to have a full HD display in Redmi 4 if the performance, battery life, and thermal performance would be worse? Well, our answer, of course, is no. This is why looking at overall performance is the most important thing. In this lens, the 1080p display would actually be a downgrade. So Redmi 4 delivers great overall performance. So next, let's talk about design. Earlier this year, we launched Redmi Note 4, and it was our first smartphone to sport this gorgeous black-on-black matte finish. So of course, we had to bring this to Redmi 4 as well. It comes with a matte black metal finish and body. Now, design is the biggest upgrade that we've made to Redmi 4. This phone is simply beautiful. I encourage you to check it out in the experience zone after this, and you'll see what I mean. Actually, a few people have mistaken Redmi 4 for Mi 6 when I've been carrying it around for the last few weeks. So here's the view from the top. Gorgeous, rounded corners. And here's the full view. Of course, it's also available in elegant gold. And here's the close-up from the back. The aluminum metal body definitely looks gorgeous. The black is super sleek. This is, of course, my favorite. And here they are together, a perfect accessory for any outfit. Yeah. Other than the two colors, gold and black, we've done so much with design to greatly improve the hand feel. Redmi 4 weighs 150 grams and is just 8.6 millimeters thick. It takes remarkable engineering to fit the same huge battery that we have in the 5.5-inch Redmi Note 4 into such a slim and compact phone. It's a clear visual upgrade from the Redmi 3S, especially from the sides. The main thing here is the slim, tapered edges. The 5-inch HD display is sized perfectly to fit in your hand, to provide that classic hand feel. Another big upgrade, the 2.5D curved glass on the front. So how does this curved glass improve hand feel? This is an actual photo of Redmi 3S and Redmi 4. If you look at Redmi 3S on the left here, you can see a lot of the gold metal rim. Whereas if you look at the Redmi 4, the gold rim is barely visible. And the result is that Redmi 4 feels a lot smoother in your hand, especially in the soft part of your thumb when you're scrolling. Getting a lot of applause. Thank you. The corners on Redmi 4 are more rounded, and I really appreciate the ergonomics, especially when I'm taking phone calls, because my hand usually grips the bottom part of the phone. Redmi 4 doesn't just feel better, it also looks better. It now comes with anodized high-gloss aluminum separation lines, giving you that premium look. And if you look at them side by side, you can see that the gold on the Redmi 4 is more tasteful and elegant than the Redmi 3S. The speaker grills are now placed on the bottom for better sound dispersion, and it gives the back cover a cleaner look. I particularly love the symmetrical look of the speakers, especially from the bottom. So that's design. Now let's talk about camera. Redmi 4 has a 13-megapixel PDAF camera with a 5-element lens. It also comes with several built-in features like HDR, panorama, burst mode, and more. PDAF stands for phase detection autofocus. It gives you super fast focus, like you can see here. It's just 0.1 second. Now, this results in more consistent photos because they're in focus more often. Let's take a look at some of the awesome camera snaps that we took on Redmi 4. This photo is actually taken outside my house. You can see the outlines of the red brick, and especially the edges on the rooftop. You can also see the crescent moon in the upper left there. This shows that the image is correctly exposed, because otherwise it would have been totally washed out. Here's a macro shot of the leaf. Every detail, the edges, the ribs, the nettle veins, they're all perfectly visible. Now, the ants in this photo are about 1 centimeter, and their antennae are about 1 millimeter in width, yet they're still distinctly visible on this screen. The thing I like most about this photo is the contrast. The color on this guy's jacket is similar to the partition behind him, and yet they're both visible. You can even see the sheen on his jacket. This is an excellent image to show off the dynamic range of Redmi 4. As you can see, this image is taken against the sunlight, and yet the spider here in the foreground is still visible. Here's another image to show off the dynamic range. Half of her face is covered in shadow, and the other half is exposed to sunlight, but no details are lost. And more importantly, the skin tone has come out perfectly accurate. Redmi 4 comes with a 5-megapixel front-facing camera. Just like Redmi Note 4, it has Beautify with now 2 modes, Smart and Pro. You can see here the difference between a regular photo and Beautify on the right. Beautify enhances your selfies so that they look amazing, even without a filter. Beautify does even more with the 2 modes. With the Smart mode, you can select from low, medium, and high, and the Pro mode gives you full control. So you can change whatever details you want and get perfectly customized selfies. All variants of the Redmi 4 now come with the fingerprint sensor, and it's extremely convenient to unlock your phone. Unlocking your phone with a pattern or password can be time-consuming and tedious. The fingerprint sensor unlocks really, really quickly, just 0.3 seconds at the touch of your fingerprints. But unlocking is not the only thing that fingerprint sensors are useful for. Some of you might have seen that Galsasi's Facebook was recently hijacked. Actually, his dad called him while this was happening to ask him what was going on. Literally everybody here wanted a free car. And you can see, Rohit, that was not me. So in the end, we found out who the hijack culprit was. CJ saw that Rohit's phone was lying around unlocked and decided to play a prank on him. So First of all, you should never leave your phone lying around and unlocked, especially if you work with CJ. But if you do, or if you lend your phone to someone, you really don't want them to access certain apps like Facebook, WhatsApp, or your gallery. Redmi 4 comes with App Lock, which adds a layer of fingerprint or passcode security over individual apps. This gives you extra security even after you've unlocked your phone. So you can use App Lock to protect your sensitive data, and this works for any app installed on your phone. All you need to do is go to your settings and then select the apps you want to lock. It's that simple. The fingerprint sensor also works with second space. Second space allows you to create another profile with different wallpaper, different apps, different files, and different photos. So in this video, the right index finger unlocks a personal profile with this cat wallpaper. The left index finger unlocks a more serious profile. So if we look at it again, you can see here the right index finger. You have your personal apps like Facebook. And then the same phone with the left index finger unlocks to a completely separate profile. Perfect for work. Redmi 4 also comes with an IR blaster, which turns it into a universal remote control for your TV, as well as air conditioners. Again, very important for us now. It has a dual SIM hybrid tray with up to 128 gigabytes of micro SD storage. It comes with MIUI 8, the latest version of our Android operating system. It's packed with features. Other than second space, we have dual apps, which lets you have a second WhatsApp profile. We have Quick Ball, which puts customizable shortcuts at your fingertips. And we have a full featured calculator with things like currency conversions or weight conversions. Apart from running MIUI 8, Redmi 4 can also run a special preview of Android N. Mi fans can switch to this version out of the box. So this is a special beta version, and as Manu said, we measure ourselves very carefully on quality. We don't want to update our software just to change a version number in settings. So we'll push out the Android N version once we get enough feedback from all of you and make sure that it's stable. But if you want to switch, it's available out of the box. And of course, Redmi 4 is also made in India. Biggest applause for that so far. So in summary, Redmi 4 has a great 4100 milliamp hour battery, which gives you 2 days of battery life. The octa-core Snapdragon 435 processor, metal frame, and 2.5D curved glass, and a fingerprint sensor for all variants. So now let's talk about the price. We'll do a few comparisons here. The first is the J2. So this is the J2 2016, and even though the older version is a little more popular still, and you can see that across the board, it's worse than the Redmi 4, from the RAM to the ROM to the much smaller battery. But the spread trim processor in particular makes this phone a pain to use. The Moto G5 here starts now at 10,999, and Redmi 4, as we showed, has better battery life, smoother performance, and most importantly, better thermal performance. And then we have the Samsung J2, which has 2 gigabytes of RAM and just a 2400 milliamp hour battery, and it's 14,000 rupees. So the 216 version with a fingerprint scanner, what do you think's the price? Exactly. This is less than the J2 2016, and it's half the price of the most comparable Samsung phone, which is the J5 Prime. It is the same great price as the 3S, which is why I'm sure you all guessed it, but this time it comes with a fingerprint sensor. So what about the 332 version? So I mentioned the Moto G5 starts at 10,999, has 3 gigabytes of RAM, but just 16 gigabytes of internal storage. 332, 8,999. Okay, so I think you're really going to love this one. We also have a new version. The 464 version of the Redmi Note 4 was the most popular. So of course, we wanted to make sure that we brought this to the Redmi 4 as well. So how much do you think this one costs? $10,999. So in summary, Redmi 4, 4,100 milliamp hour, 2-day battery. A 5-inch display with incredible hand feel. The Snapdragon 435 octa-core processor. The 13-megapixel PDAF camera, starting from just 6,999 for the 216 version,